caught me. All right, let's try this again. Happy Wednesday. I'm glad you're here today. I have a unique discussion that I'd like to take place with you today. Sorry, I'm still trying to get settings and things all going here at once, so I apologize. I think I've got everything set here. Oh man, I'm even a minute late because, like, I had to do something. Just much like with crypto on the rocks, I needed a drink. Well, I needed a drink today. This time it was coffee though. So, all right. Thanks for joining me today. Got hopefully a unique conversation to have with you today. Get you thinking a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, as always, I'm here to help you get your mindset on crypto. Today, we're going to focus a lot on Bitcoin, but we'll integrate some crypto stuff too, and so on. We're going to start out talking a little bit about cryptocurrency regulations in the United States in particular. We are going to talk then a little bit, actually going to show you a clip from Tucker Carlson as he explains basically how fiat money is completely co-opted. And I'm only taking like the introduction that was shared. You'll see that in a minute. But it gives you enough information to, one, want to go watch the entire thing, and two, to make you think like, yeah, maybe I didn't think about it like that. And it's good information to get out to the general public who obviously, is either, I'm trying to be generous here, not paying attention to what's going on. They feel the pinch at the store, the pump, whatever, but like it doesn't move them to try to do anything about it. And then, again, what do you do about it kind of thing? But I'm then going to try and translate that into Bitcoin. And in particular, to make you think about the way you earn money. Think about sorry, I have a little feedback going on over here. I'm trying to fix as we speak. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness, it just it doesn't end, does it? Technical difficulties. All right, there we go. I think that'll do it now. Anyway, so the way you think about how you earn money and how that money is actually a representation of the energy you expended to create it, and if you have savings, in how you have access to that future energy, and how Bitcoin is a better way to save that future energy, not just for you, but maybe more generationally. Anyway, so let's kick this proverbial can down the road here. But I want to start off with taking a look at the markets. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to refresh this so we've got the latest numbers here. In actuality, I'm going to make that full screen for you. And you know what? Let's go down the line here. So Bitcoin at 36,140, down a little bit. I mean, it was pretty much over that 37 mark, and not for nothing, I know it's still in the range, but yesterday it dipped back down into 35s. And again, it was something that I kind of considered might come back down, but here we are. It's still holding steady in that between 35 and 37 range. So that's reassuring. That's reassuring. And we got Ethereum still above the $2,000 mark at 2011 right now. And that's great. Great to see with regard to the second largest cryptocurrency in the market. Looking at BNB, holding steady in that $250 range. XRP, again, no, we got a lot of XRP fans out here. 63.8 cents. Down overall, as you can see, almost 6.5% over the last 7 days. Again, XRP has had a lot of positive news coming and going in its ecosystem. So the fact that it's kind of still in that range, I think positive. And then we got Solana still up almost 46% in the last 7 days. That is frankly insane. Insane. Again, I'm no fan of Solana, but I mean, that doesn't mean because I'm no fan of Solana, you can't be a fan of Solana. So if you are, great. And if you're hodling that and you've been hodling Solana, good for you. You're probably up on your investment. So that's awesome. Glad for you. Cardano, favorite of Cardano here. 3.8% up over the last 7 days. 36.7 cents. So that's actually pretty good. Still a good buy for Cardano, though, if you ask me. Polygon Matic at 90 cents, up 16.5% in the last 7 days. Chainlink, I'm very bullish on Chainlink, long-term especially, 14.75, up almost 7% in the last week. 7%. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Let's see what else we got here. DOT, again, up 8.5%. AVAX, I am very long-term bullish with Avalanche. $19.51. Look at this, up 52.3% in the last week. Crazy numbers, right? Crazy numbers. We are up. Litecoin, I like Litecoin. Actually, for those who have been visiting my channel, that I keep saying, when I go to DCA, I keep forgetting to buy Litecoin because I need Litecoin. I use it for what it's meant to be used for, to buy and pay for stuff. And I did remember today when I was DCAing to make sure I got myself some Litecoin. So yes, I can actually pay a bill now. So anyway, let's keep going down. Bitcoin Cash. Again, I feel the same way about Bitcoin Cash. Down almost 4.5 or just over 4.5% over the last 7 days at 232.43. But again, it's again for what it's meant to be used for. Stellar, one of those items that you can help us decide to DCA into over the course of time here in the next few more weeks on Crypto on the Rocks every Friday night, 7 p.m. XLM is down 5.5% over the last 7 days. And that was okay because I got it at a slightly better price when I DCA'd into that today, because that was one of the cryptos you wanted me to DCA into. So boom, there it is. Then there's Monero, privacy coins. I'm not against the privacy coin thing here. I think it's going to play a role in the economy and crypto adoption as we go forward. And down almost 2% over the last 7 days at 164.08. And that's okay. I don't care. I'm mining it, just mining away with XMR. Filecoin, again, Filecoin is, for those who are not familiar with it, it's the basically largest decentralized cloud storage platform here, up almost 19.5% in the last week, over $5. But you know what? Lots of upside potential with regard to Filecoin. Caspa. I mean, I'm sorry, Caspa's been on fire, and you've seen a lot of talk about it with CryptoJar and Financial Failure, both guys of whom have a live stream with me on Tuesdays. And if you missed that live stream yesterday, the Matrix Money podcast, head into the description of this video, of this live stream, and make sure you follow us over there on the Money Matrix podcast channel. And you saw, if you did, we talked about CryptoJar talked about his ROI on his Casper mining, and I can see why, up almost 52%. Casper, the price of Casper up almost 52% in the last week. Crazy. HBAR, Hedera. I've been talking about that a lot. I'm actually editing a video now showing you how to stake your Casper and get some returns for doing that. So watch for that to come out. I'm trying to get that out tomorrow, but no guarantees. Worst case, it will be out next week. But watch for that. HBAR, another one that I DCA'd into today because you guys voted for it on Crypto on the Rocks this past Friday. It's up 1.3% in the last 7 days at just over 6 cents. Thorchain, Rune. I am a fan of Thorchain. I just am. And ThorSwap, I think, is just going to dominate when it comes to DeFi. We actually talked about it, CryptoJar and I, a little bit yesterday, and even FF was chiming in the chat about that. Speaking of which, if you're right here in the chat, come on, chime in, ask whatever questions you want. We'll try and get to those. Say, hey, let me know what you're thinking. And I appreciate that. And Thorchain up 76% in the last 7 days. Holy moly. VeChain, I am a fan of VeChain, down just over 3% in the last 7 days. That's okay. Stack them if you want to stack them. And last but not least, for what we're going to go over today is Quant. And, still upside down in my Quant that I purchased for me. But we're doing well. We're actually up on the DCA, which is, again, because Quant is one of those you can vote for on Crypto on the Rocks at 102.97. Pretty steady. I mean, it's down just barely down in 7 days and just barely up in the last 24 hours. So, I mean, again, you can't squawk about that. Markets, pretty steady, looking okay. So that's just a quick overlook of the markets as we speak. All right, let's get into this and start out with looking at some of the talk about regulation. Now, JP Morgan Chase, again, I'm no fan of JP Morgan Chase. And Jamie Dimon and his bullshit narrative against Bitcoin, while they're literally sitting there creating the background infrastructure to help custody Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for their most wealthy clients. So, my attitude is shove your duplicitous shit. But anyway, JP Morgan Chase in this particular, let me make that full screen for you, make it a little easier to see. Here talks about U.S. crypto regulations unlikely to ease despite SEC legal defeats. Now, they highlight here that, the SEC has had their ass handed to them in a number of recent court cases where the decisions did not even remotely go their way. And basically the judges in these cases are saying that they're doing things in an arbitrary and capricious manner. So basically they're just trying to do what they want to do because that's how I feel today. I woke up on that side of the bed. Well, that's not how things are supposed to work, but whatever. Anyway, they highlight the fact that these recent court cases have gone in favor of the cryptocurrency space as a whole. However, they caution that crypto regulation is coming. Well, I don't doubt that. And to some degree, I believe there might be a need for some crypto regulation. Anyway, I believe that, you need to be a big boy, a big girl, pick your pants up and deal with your own shit on your own. Have some common sense, do a little bit of research and make your own decisions with stuff. And, but anyway, that being said, basically they're highlighting here that the despite those recent wins by the cryptocurrency community as a whole, that's not going to slow down, as it puts, we don't believe right here. Where is it? Here we go. Let's just put that like this. We do not believe U.S. lawmakers would shift their stance because of the two listed cases, which they list the Grayscale and XRP case, especially with the memories of FTX fraud still fresh. And okay, get on it a little bit here with the FTX fraud. As far as I'm concerned, Gensler was complicit in that. He had meetings with principals with regard to FTX, and FTX literally was paying off politicians, donating to Joe Biden's campaign. You want to know more about that one in particular? I wrote about that like straight off before FTX was even like a humongous exchange here in the United States, and on CryptoCoinMindSet.com. So go ahead and check that out. But bottom line is, FTX was busy trying to like put their money everywhere so they could help to control the narrative, which was not a narrative positive to the cryptocurrency space. Just not. Anyway, without getting too far off on that, as far as I'm concerned, okay, they highlight here JP Morgan Chase's statement here is like, well, especially while the memory of the FTX fraud is still fresh. Well, guess what? The legislators, the regulators in the U.S. government, as far as I'm concerned, were complicit in that FTX fraud. And now they're sitting there trying to distance themselves. Please, they took the money. Get the frick over it at this point. All right. So bottom line is, what's going on? Are we going to have more regulation? Yeah, unfortunately, fortunately, I don't care what side of the bed you're on here. More regulation is coming. In particular, like I said, we're talking here with regard to cryptocurrency regulation in the United States. And I'm hoping that this vague language that they were putting in with regard to broker dealers gets clarified and rectified, because again, this is the kind of stuff that needs to be dealt with centralized exchanges and so on and so forth. The way it's currently written and what they're trying to get through is, in my opinion, you'll talk arbitrary and capricious in regard to how they're trying to blanket it out to basically encompass anything and anyone, right down to a cryptocurrency wallet. And guess what? No, absolutely not. So we'll keep you up to date on that. But the bottom line is, yes, there is more regulation coming. And why? Because right now, okay, I know I'm kind of getting off track here a little bit, but we are in a fiat system. In the United States, we're dealing with the US dollar. So you work and earn money in US dollar. You buy and spend US dollar. You get taxed in US dollars. So right now, the only way that you can, within the system, the only way that you can save for the future, and this is what we're going to kind of highlight in a second, is to do it in US dollars. But the US dollar system is a corrupt system. And that's the next thing I want to point out with this introduction from a report and put out by the Tucker Carlson. So let me bring that up real quick, and we're going to watch that for a second, and then we'll talk about that a little bit more. So let me bring that up. Here we go. I'm going to start it, and we'll listen to what he's got to say. It's about a minute long.
For politicians, money is power. They always crave more. But because they don't actually produce anything, they've got limited ways to get it. They can hike taxes on the population and collect the cash at gunpoint. That's the most straightforward way. But it's also highly unpopular. Voters don't like paying higher taxes. They resent it. So over time, most politicians in most places decide it's a lot easier to devalue the currency. You keep the tax rate pretty much the same, you just print more money. At first, most people don't even notice that it's happening. The money seems free.
True.
This is how the US government just paid for the COVID checks and the war in Ukraine and pretty much everything else that Washington has done for the past couple of decades. Just churn out more dollars. You can see why it's a popular strategy. But what happens if you keep doing it year after year? We really ought to know. So to find out, we flew to Argentina. For politicians, money is...
And that's where he goes into, they flew to Argentina. And I'll tell you what, we should watch that whole thing. I think it'll help to shape your mindset with regard to how debasing the currency is their way of maintaining control. We see it in the form of inflation and prices rising, etc. And we're going to talk, or actually, we're going to watch another clip from what Bitcoin did, where Peter McCormick, and if you don't subscribe to his podcast, you really should. He has the best guests on there, and I know they focus mostly on Bitcoin, but oh my goodness, you need to understand the way these people think and articulate about Bitcoin and its future and so on is very unique. And again, like I said, we're gonna actually look at that a little bit later. So stay tuned for that. But in fact, let me get rid of that so we can get rid of that. And so how does governments utilize the money supply to basically steal from us? Well, obviously inflation, right? They just raise the taxes. I said inflation, I meant taxation. Sorry. And you're taxed on everything, okay? If you own a business, you got business taxes, corporate taxes, you've got local taxes, you've got property taxes, you've got all these things. And then if you're just a worker, like I'm going to assume most of the people who might be watching this particular live stream, what do? You go to work, and this is where I want you to start thinking of this differently, that what you're earning and the money you're earning is actually a representation of your energy. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that is completely finite is time. And we all have, well, I want to say we all have the same amount of time in a day. I suppose that's true. But we only have so much time in our lives. So the amount of energy you can expend on a certain endeavor, an investment, whatever, savings, is finite. It's a finite resource. And if you're doing that in something like the US dollar, which again, what do most people who are, again, probably watching this live stream do? They go to work 40 plus hours a week. They get a paycheck at the end of the week or every 2 weeks, whatever it is. And they basically, and these days, like every cent of that and then some is used to survive. Thank you to the inflation and excess money printing, like Tucker just mentioned in that piece, devaluating the US dollar. So there is no incentive to save, even if you could, because let's say you're able to put some money into a savings. So you work hard every week, you're able to pay all your bills, and you got a little bit left over. And you basically put that in your savings account every week. Well, the more money that gets printed, the less value that savings has. Yes, I know. Let's say you put $100 in there in your savings account. Well, yeah, on the screen, it still says $100, but what is the actual purchasing power of that $100? It's on a steady decline and has been on a steady decline since we came off the gold standard back in the 70s. The more money we print, the less value that $100 has in purchasing power. So basically, by doing this, they are robbing you of future purchasing power. They are stealing your energy, the energy that you put in to save that money, to try to plan for the future, to try and plan for your retirement, to try and plan for what you want to leave to your children and grandchildren, by devaluing the currency. So basically stealing your energy. Okay? I'm trying to get you to think in those terms as we go forward with the other things I'm going to show you here. I am here to try and explain now. Now, okay. Bitcoin, you know how you hear that, okay, Bitcoin's backed by nothing. Bitcoin's backed by the energy it takes to create Bitcoin, hence proof of work. And one of the largest, and you stay with me, you'll see where I'm going. One of the largest narratives, especially from the ESG contingent, is that Bitcoin ruins the environment because, I mean, my God, it takes like the power supply of an entire country to mine Bitcoin and blah, blah, blah. And now that we have more data about this, those narratives continue to be proven false. You won't hear that in the mainstream media, and unless you actually go and search for that information yourself or take the time to actually believe people like us who put it out there, you just believe the narrative that Bitcoin bad, used a lot of electricity, blah. Sorry, just had to. And that is a false narrative. I'm going to make case in point in a second here. I just put a short together. Now, I did an entire live stream with regard to this information that I highlighted how Mark Moss, and again, if you're not following him, link in the description of this live stream to his channel. Follow that man. He is very eloquent. He does a lot of research, and he puts it out and packages it well that anyone can understand who takes the time to listen. And again, I give him all the props with regard to this, because you want to know what? I'm not that eloquent. I know it. And he has a much larger following than I do. I mean, I'm just a baby YouTuber by by standards. Speaking of which, if you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tick that bell icon, click the all. That way you get notified every time I go live. Right now, Monday, Wednesday live here at 10 a.m. Matrix Money Podcast, 10 a.m. live, and then Friday night, 7 p.m. for Crypto on the Rocks live. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel so you can get all that information as I'm putting it out. And smash the likes up. Come on, smash them up. Let the algorithm get this out to more people. Anyway, follow Mark Moss, link in the description below. I put together a short, and the reason I want to show the short is because it got so much hate. It was crazy. 3/4, according to my analytics, of, because remember, shorts are a little bit different than videos on YouTube. Shorts, when you like view shorts, you could be viewing so many different topics in shorts at any given time. It's not like you're just viewing cryptocurrency shorts or whatever if you're just going off the short shelf on YouTube, on your app. So this short and all my shorts end up on a wider audience that is not just cryptocurrency interested. Okay. And as the actual short went out yesterday, As of my last look at the analytics, it has around 400 views. Of those 400 views, it got 3 likes and 7 dislikes. So 3/4 of the people disagree with what I put out about Bitcoin mining using wasted energy, which came off of the actual work put together by Mark Moss. So I'm going to show you that short real quick. And you can see how people can't put together that Bitcoin is energy just in the creation of it. And that's why you need to really think about Bitcoin being energy in the actual saving of it for your future. So let me pull that up real quick. Pull the short up first here, and right here it is. So let's give this a quick watch, okay? I'll make sure that's coming up on the screen. Oops, yeah. Let me make it full screen for you. All right.
Energy. Who's to say if you're using energy it's a waste? But if I create it and it doesn't get consumed, that's a waste. And that's exactly what's happening. So Bitcoin uses only a very small fraction of the energy that's already being created and not used. It's already been made. It's going to go to waste.
He brings up a good point right there that Bitcoin only uses energy, electricity that's already been created. We've all seen it. You've got these large landfills and they're venting the methane, they're just burning it off. You've got different fracking facilities and oil generating facilities. What do? They burn off the natural gas. You've got Bitcoin miners utilizing that low cost, basically endless supply of energy to do what? Not let it go to waste, not let it go into the environment, and mine Bitcoin in the process.
Goes back to the energy.
Okay,
who's to say?
Let's get that out of there. So you get the idea. Does it not make sense? I mean, you hear about this all the time, especially in Texas, how they help to stabilize the power grid. You hear about how they're able to utilize all this wasted energy and otherwise already produced energy that's going to go to waste because the demand for energy varies all the time. And Bitcoin mining can help to stabilize that infrastructure. But people, again, 3/4 of the people who watched that short in the last 24 hours disagree. They either don't like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, whatever, or they just completely disagree with the narrative that Bitcoin mining can be environmentally sound and net zero, which it's, I believe, with the latest data, just about net zero for cryptocurrency mining, mind you, with regard to impact on the environment. So you need energy to produce the Bitcoin. They can't even click that together. So this is where I need you to think that you go to work, you're earning a paycheck. That paycheck is a representation of the energy you're expelling to survive. Okay, you're working, you're expending energy, and then you're being compensated for that. And what you do with that is a representation of the energy you've expended. And if you are going to try to save that money, I submit to you that if you're saving in US dollars or just saving in general, that is your savings, is a representation of your future energy. And if you're using US dollars to do the savings, it's being devaluated on a pretty much daily basis. So your purchasing power, your future energy, your future purchasing power is literally being stolen from you. Again, I submit that Bitcoin is a better way to salvage that. It's a simple supply and demand thing. You don't have to really wrap much around it. you've got Bitcoin that started at, like I told you, when I got into the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin was 29 cents. We just looked at the price. What was it? About $36,000. Come on now. Once all these ETFs, all this other baloney comes through, what do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin? So would you rather be in a depreciating asset trying to save for the future, or an appreciating asset trying to save your energy for the future? Let's take a look at, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to look at that. Now, one of the other things I came across was this idea is not new. Henry Ford had this idea, and it was highlighted in this article here on the New York Times, I believe it was. And back in they don't have the dates just cut off here, but obviously, well, they're saying here it's about 100 years ago. Let's bring this full screen, and I want to read through a little bit of this, just to kind of give you a perspective that the idea that you know what you produce is energy in one way, shape, or form. It's just transitioned into different things. So again, your paycheck is your energy you put in at work is transitioned into US dollars, and they get your paycheck at the end of the week. I want you to think about, again, that savings being translated into Bitcoin savings. The energy, the amount of energy you're putting in might be the same, but how it appreciates or depreciates is completely different. So let's make this full screen real quick here and see if we can't even zoom in a little bit. Hold on one second. I don't know if I can zoom that. Whoops. Hang on. Zoom that in. Bam. How about that? Try one more. All right. Let's see. Is that better? Maybe you can see that a little bit better now. All right. Good. So basically, Ford would replace gold, because remember, at this time, the US dollar was on the gold standard, right? With energy currency, and stop wars. Now, you know, you hear a lot of people, before we kind of really get into that, you hear a lot of people talk about, you know, fix the money, fix the world. And I am a bit of that mindset. I'm not naive enough to believe that that would be the only way to stop wars and all this other stuff. But yeah, I do believe that if you can't co-opt the money, you have an opportunity to get things right. So, all right. So here we go. Let's read through some pieces of this really quick here. So Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, there's some hard-hitting names right there, arrived here today to inspect the Muscle Shoals nitrate plant, which the Detroit automobile manufacturer proposes to take over from the government. And almost immediately, Mr. Ford declared that the purpose of this vast new project, it is not to make money, or primarily to stimulate employment of a million men now idle, or to make the South an industrial leader, or center, excuse me. His purpose, he said, is to end all wars forever. Again, because he believed that money is obviously co-opted and people will fight over it. Henry Ford, by building the world's greatest power plant here on the Tennessee River, expects to eliminate gold as the basis of world wealth and substitute it for something different: the unit of power. And by doing this, he said, war would cease, for gold is the cause of war. What a unique perspective. Change even the gold standard. And again, gold, money since the beginning of time, right? But still a co-optable way to further try to save and package your energy, you know, your future wealth. your future productivity. Where he's saying by the use of this power plant, we create money as a unit of energy. Welcome to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a unit of energy. And this energy provides a better basis for savings, a better basis for a monetary system, quite frankly, and a better basis for you to be able to salvage your wealth, your future energy. I want to just highlight a little bit more of this and the article from that where they're talking about Henry Ford, and then we'll come back to this. And there's one more thing I want to highlight. Okay, so it's very simple. When you analyze it, said Mr. Ford, the cause of all wars is gold. We shall demonstrate to the world two things. First, the practicability. Second, the desirability of displacing gold as the basis of currency and substituting in its place the world's imperishable natural wealth. Again, welcome to Bitcoin. Proof of work. Do the work, earn the wealth. Even 100 years ago, Henry Ford knew that money needed to be changed because those closest to the spigot, those who are able to co-opt it, those who are able to control it, will always do what men do, will do. As a species, humans are just like, come on. Bitcoin will help. Okay. In my opinion, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, will help to change that narrative, to disincentivize corruption because it's incorruptible. So let me ask you the question. Would you rather save your money in something that is completely corruptible and co-optable by the government or other agency like the Fed, a la US dollars? Or would you rather save your money in something that is not co-optable and is an appreciating asset like Bitcoin? I don't know. To me, it's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. But there's one other thing. Now, part of this thought process and why I wanted to do this was I was listening to, I mentioned Peter McCormack and what Bitcoin did in his podcast. And I was listening to it, in my ear as a podcast as I was just doing, I don't even remember what I was doing, but I was just doing a bunch of things. And I listened to probably like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of his podcasts. And in one of them, and I couldn't find the exact one, and I apologize for that, because I listened to so many, I couldn't remember which one it was. And they're all long. They're all at least an hour long. So I couldn't remember the exact one, but this concept of Bitcoin and using Bitcoin for a savings mechanism as energy was highlighted by one of his guests. And again, it wasn't something I hadn't thought about before, but it created a new spark in me to think like, man, and probably because, when I kind of heard about the concept in the first place, things weren't quite as bad as they are now. Inflation wasn't on the rise. People were still able to maybe afford a home. You didn't go to the grocery store and cry every time you went to the grocery store or the pump and so on. So nowadays, all that's true. But it hit me differently and made me want to create this live stream and have this discussion. So, but I was just listening to his latest, Peter McCormack's latest podcast with Robert Breedlove, another one, great person to listen to if you're trying to wrap your head around the whole money concept and economics concept and how Bitcoin fits into that and changes everything concept. I'll try to remember to put a link to his channel in the description of this live stream after we're done. Anyway, I want in the section in this like 3-minute clip we're about to watch from this latest podcast, they're talking about taxation in particular, how taxation is theft. They're talking about how due to taxation there's a reduction in productivity. Because Peter McCormack's talking about, I like building businesses. I want to help build businesses. I want to be able to, give people jobs and this and that. And he's going on. And they bring that all around through the taxation lens to how basically this is stealing your energy. And it's stealing, again, your future energy. So let's watch this clip real quick, and then we'll come back and I'll wrap it up. But again, link to this particular podcast in the description of this live stream. We're going to pick it up right here. And like I said, that's what they're talking about. Whoops. Let's bring that up full screen for you and give it a listen for it's about 2 minutes.
I am taking my spare capital. Look, I'm a good businessman. That's one thing I know I'm good at. I create profitable businesses that work. I've done it my whole adult life. And I want to create more of them. I'm addicted to business. I just am. I just have to create more businesses. I go into my town center and I see opportunity. All these closed shops, I think you could do this with it. You could do that with it. And I want to do it. But so I take my free capital and I do it. I bought that bar. It's still successful. It's making more money than it was last year. I built a football club. It's making money. I want to do this other place that I told you about. I can see opportunity. But I'm using my free capital after all the tax I paid. My corporation tax in my business, which is at 29%, I think it is. My personal tax that I'm paying. If I paid less tax, and I'm not anti-tax, but I would have more money to create more businesses for productive people.
Yeah.
But what I have to do is I have to fund the unproductive people.
That's right. Yeah, you're getting looted. And as addicted to business as you are and as successful as you've been, you'd probably be more addicted and more successful if you weren't being looted quite so much.
I could do a lot more.
Yeah. And then again, to make this a little more real, right? And I've wrote about this in Masters and Slaves of Money. Central banking is an institutionalized system of time theft.
Yep.
Because ultimately the fruits of your labor are a product of your time or energy, right? Time and energy used synonymously here.
Yes.
We printed $6 trillion in 2020, right, in the U.S. The average annual U.S. salary is $60,000, roughly. That's 100 million years stolen, right, through the counterfeiting of currency. If each human works from the age of 20 to 70, so that's about 50 productive years per human, the counterfeiting of $6 trillion USD equals the stealing of 2 million human lives worth of productive labor.
Think about that.
Right. This is to try to make it real, like it's a real massive problem. And then of course the plausible deniability that's built into inflation, right? It's Putin's fault. It's Beyonce's fault. It's the supply chains. It's everything but the central bank. So again, we're back to that romantic lie, the deception and the stealing going hand in hand. I think this is hopefully what we can deliver as Bitcoiners is pulling back the veil on this bullshit and saying, look, you don't need to steal from people to make society work. Let people opt in and opt out.
All right. And then they continue to go on about that, but he explains it even a lot better than I do. I mean, again, energy, your money that you're earning when you go to your job is a representation of your energy, the energy you've expended to create that money, to earn that money. And both by taxation and debasement of the currency, that is being stolen from you. And if you're saving your money, hence your energy, in an inferior vehicle, in this case the US dollar, or pick any fiat currency, I'm not sure if I got anybody outside the United States watching right now. Every once in a while I get somebody from Portugal and from Europe, etc. So your currency, you are losing money, purchasing power, future energy usage on a daily basis. So I encourage you to consider the fact that Bitcoin might be a better savings vehicle to put your hard-earned money into, your hard-earned and utilized, expended energy into, to hold your purchasing power for the future. There it is, folks. Again, I know I'm not as eloquent as some of these other people, but that's it in a nutshell. You need a different savings vehicle. And I think Bitcoin is ideal. It's already seeing adoption. It's seeing adoption because, again, you got countries, companies adopting it left and right. You've got ETFs, futures already in place. You've got spot ETFs on the verge of being put out here in the United States, and in some countries already exist. So why would you not want to put your energy into a vehicle that will hold its power, its energy, its value, its purchasing power for a longer and better period of time? Only makes sense to me. All right, that's it, folks. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I don't see anything in the chat here. Double check. Nope. All right. Well, say la vie. So what's next? What's next is Friday night, 7 p.m. Crypto on the Rocks. Make sure you're joining me here. Bring your favorite beverage. We're gonna sit here. We're gonna talk crypto, casual conversation. I will bring you on, and you control the conversation of what we're talking about. Also, you are going to get to vote on what we dollar cost average into over the following week. So make sure that you are joining me Friday night, 7 p.m. I appreciate that. That's my next live stream. Again, if you are new here, what do we got? When giveaway? It's wow. It's funny you asked me that question because I was already thinking, I know we've done giveaways on the Matrix Money channel. Help me, Crypto Jar put together a weather miner and gave that away on the Matrix Money channel. I know that FF did a giveaway on his last live stream this past Sunday. Again, links for those who are new here to their channels are in the description below. I've been thinking, okay, well, what am I going to give away? Not sure yet. I've been pondering a few different things. So the answer is I don't know yet, Tech Man, but I appreciate you asking the question. I'm pondering. I definitely want to do something with the giveaway for a wallet, but I might save that for Matrix Money podcast. So maybe I'll do one here as well. Also, I was also thinking my ebook, giving that away. I don't know. I'm still working on it. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Okay. That's what's going on. Stay tuned for all of that information. And matter of fact, maybe we could talk about it more in a casual setting. Maybe Tech Man, you can join me Friday here, 7 p.m. Eastern, for Crypto on the Rocks, and you can come on live. We can have that chat. I appreciate that very much. Again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tick the bell icon, click the all. That way you get notified every time I am live Monday, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern for Crypto on the Rocks, and Matrix Money podcast channel, 10 a.m. on Tuesdays. Smash up that like before you leave. I appreciate that. All right. I am one day. I'm assuming that means joining me on the Crypto on the Rock. So, well, whenever you want, I'm there every Friday night, and you are obviously invited. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate that. All right, that's it. I'm heading out. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you on Crypto on the Rocks Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.